Okay, we're live. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I have with us Mary Gibbons. She is an expert in the financial realm. I'll let her better explain it. But we're going to be talking about the importance and the role of financial wellness and dig in a little bit to that. And Mary will give us some really practical advice. So, go ahead and introduce yourself, Mary. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do for work and fun.
Thanks, Emily. So my name is Mary Gibbons. I work at our credit union. I work for a community development consultant. My focus is financial wellness. Like we just shared, I bring financial wellness to workplaces, schools, organizations, anybody that needs that support for their team or participants. And our program is absolutely complimentary. You do not need to bank on Mark to take advantage of the program. As far as for fun, I am a grandmother. My only grandchild, my granddaughter, turned a year old November 21st. So we're looking forward to her second Christmas, but one that she will have a little bit more activity this year. I also play pickleball. I would love pickleball, and I love to golf. I'm in a great league over the summer with great women community. And that's a whole lot of fun too. Other than that, I love to travel, spend time with my friends, and yeah, I have a nice life.
Amazing. What's the best golf course in the area?
Well, our golf league is at Mill Road. It's a par three. So in my mind, that is the best golf course in the area. I'm sure I'll already comment, but I love the par three and I love nine. Anything more than nine holes, my ADHD kicks in. I don't have it.
Right. Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, you're really active and you get a lot of nice community time. You're living
Yeah.
a lot of the longevity pillars.
Yes, yes, I
That's
try.
really awesome. And what decade of life are you in?
I am in my sixth. I am 61 years old. It hurts to say it, but my mom's 94 and she is, still lives at home. She sharp as a tack. So I hope to continue to move forward and follow in her footsteps. So yeah, so far so good. On one.
Amazing. Wow, that's so cool. What a great role model you have with her.
Yeah, seven kids. She raised seven kids. So I didn't put that in that way. But I think that was a huge part of her longevity.
Wow. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sure she's busy. Well,
yeah.
that's so cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
So, anything like I talk a lot about health literacy. And, obviously I work in like the health space and stuff. So like financial literacy is so important and financial wellness is so important. But first, let's start off with how can you define financial wellness? What does it mean to be financially well? What does it mean to be paying attention to your financial wellness?
Right. That's a great question. First, financial wellness is very independent. What I do is not necessarily going to work for you.
Yeah.
But the best way to sum up someone who is financially fit would be someone who is in a position to make sound and confident financial decisions. Feel like if you are not living paycheck to paycheck, or if you are living paycheck to paycheck, you're still able to put money aside for emergencies. You're still able to pay your bills, put food on your table. But just being aware of what's coming into your household and what's going out of your household. I recognize when I work with folks how scary, daunting you think about your financial can be, but addressing it is really the first step, and diving into how you can improve your situation is not as difficult. You don't have to navigate it alone. There are resources and people out there that can help you.
Yeah. Yeah. So what kind of goes into the financial wellness piece? So the key is the simplified version is what's coming in and what's going out.
Hmm?
How do people start to get a grasp on that?
So that's a great question. Budgeting would be my immediate answer. If you're not aware of what's coming in, what's coming out, you're probably spending beyond. That's just because you have no way of of knowing what's going where and what's in. So when I mention the word budget, oftentimes I will cringe, literally. And it is daunting, when you think about having to do it. And I think too, budgeting has a connotation that it's a negative thing. And it's really not to be a restraint. It's to
Mhm.
give you, it's to let you understand and know what you can do or what. So sitting down in that budget, which doesn't happen overnight. I've worked with folks, you know, 3, 4 months sometimes to really get where it needs to be. Because oftentimes when you are setting up a budget, you're recognizing, oh my gosh, I have all these streaming stations and I don't even watch, 3 of them anymore. COVID led us to a place where we all started subscribing to streaming. It was all we could do. It was our form of entertainment. But, 5 years out, people aren't glued to their TVs as they once were. And those that do tend to watch different shows on different streaming stations aren't aware that you can pause them. You don't have to continually pay for them. So when you sit down and you do your budget, we start seeing these little things that you weren't aware of, you had forgotten, subscriptions that you thought you canceled. You get those 30-day free subscriptions, you forget reminder, you don't cancel it, so you're getting that money taken out. And granted, it might be $10, $15 a month, not a huge sum, but you have a few of them, it adds up. So, budgeting would be the first step that I would suggest that somebody sit down and do to get an idea of where they are in their financial wellness.
Mhm. Yeah. And anytime someone is trying to like make a change or increase their awareness, right? Like that's what it is. You just need to have awareness over your own circumstances. Like I've been a dietitian for a long time. So an immediate parallel is like logging food, right?
Mhm.
Like it's not a sustainable, and the way that I practice now, I don't do diets. It's like really rooted in longevity and sustainability, but if a client is brand new to me and they have no idea like what they're consuming on a regular basis, maybe we'll write everything down for a couple weeks for the purpose of awareness because you can't make change without awareness. And you're so right. I think I don't know if you've heard of this software. I'm sure you have. YNAB, you need a budget.
Yep.
I've been using that for almost 10 years. My husband got me into it and I'm so appreciative because he matured in that. We've been together since we were pretty young, but he matured into that before I did and I'm so grateful for it. I still use it every single week.
Mhm.
I don't care how much they raise their prices. Hope they don't hear this. I'll keep paying for it. It's just like it's such a helpful software. And it's the same way of like, this isn't a punishment. It's
Exactly.
actually freedom. It's actually power. It's a
How
source of power. And then that trickles through. Like, this is something you and I both really agree on. Like, if you have power or empowerment or literacy in one area, it enables you and really makes it easier to gain in the other area as well.
and yeah. And I'm so glad that you mentioned writing things down. And it's not only limited to budgeting. I encourage folks to work with. We're coming up to a new year, right? New Year's resolutions are huge. People tend to make New Year's resolutions 2 months in, a month in, whatever, they give up, surrender. So I like to refer to goals and writing down your goals and sharing those. If you're in a household with, a spouse, a roommate, whomever you share your finances with, writing down those goals, making them tangible. Of course, they have to be realistic too to your situation. But for example, a family that wants to go to Disney, that way you're bringing your kids involved too. So if you're driving past McDonald's or, Burger King or whatever, and they want to stop for a Happy Meal, you can literally bring them in and say, well, we can take that money, a Happy Meal, or we can take this money and put it towards our Disney goal, and encouraging them to recognize that choices, you want to accomplish something, stick to it. Sometimes I hate to use the word sacrifice because I think that also has like a negative tone to it, but
Right.
giving up or compromising to do something else is a nice say, yeah, let's put the money towards Disney instead. But writing down those goals, setting yourself up. to work towards something. And then, if it's a big ticket item like Disney, set quarterly um, things that you can reward yourself or your children. You guys have been great these past few months. You haven't, given us any grief because we haven't been going out to fast food restaurants or whatever, whatever. So tonight we're going to go, you're going to get a happy meal. Say, we're doing it. We're getting there. This is how far we are. So, oh, can you still see me?
I lost you for just a second. There you go. You're back.
Somebody just, so yeah, I think again, just understanding some helpful tools that you do to put yourself in that position, your goal.
Yeah. Do you have any specific, like budgeting tools you'd recommend? Like, do you think people should use an Excel? Do you have software programs you would recommend?
So my first answer is use what work for you,
Yeah.
but cutting it is half the battle, right? But we do provide here at Sunmark tools and resources to help you budget. You can also, like you said, you have a budgeting app that you use. Whatever it
Mhm.
is that you use and that you find not to be a challenge to some point,
Yeah.
is what's going to work best for you. I feel like that's what I usually say when I'm working with folks is we're all on the level playing field that we need support and guidance at some time in our life. when we go to our life. So we're all on the same plane. Where things differentiate is the goals that we're setting for ourselves. Income, of course, comes into play. Your bills. What are you paying for? So it's a very individual thing. But bottom line is, whatever works best for you is what take you to the next level.
Yeah. So go into it with an open mind. Ask
When,
your bank.
yeah,
Ask the friend or family member you know that's good with money. Hey, how do you organize yourself?
100% finding yourself a trusted advisor is going
Yeah.
to put you at ease. It's going to help you with those tools and resources that you need and be there for that guy. Our program is a relationship program. So if
Yeah.
someone doesn't know me today, by the time, a couple of months rolls around or 6 months, a year, we have a relationship and a rapport that's built because people are quite vulnerable when it comes to their finances and understand
Yeah.
how to share everything with someone that is a little intimidating.
Mhm.
So establishing that trust and um, having the ability to work with that person or those people, that team, whoever you choose as your trusted advisor, it makes a lot better,
Mhm, mhm. And it's the same as, like, finding a healthcare provider or a mental health support, which is also healthcare, like, it's kind of those really sensitive topics,
right?
and the advice that we've talked about a little bit, like, on this podcast and, like, with other guests and, like, that I give my clients is, like, trust your intuition. Would you say it's the same when you're trying to find a financial guidance? Like, if this feels right in your gut, if this person makes you feel comfortable or this message makes you feel comfortable, it's not too good to be true. It's not trying to sell you something, right? Like,
Like
would you say that that's the right way to find someone?
100%. And I love how our paths do align with the whole wellness. If you're stressed about your finances, you're probably eating more, stress eating, or what have you. But and that's how I like how our paths align in health way. But yeah, I feel like when you are looking for that trusted advisor, don't be afraid to ask questions. Like
Yeah.
retirement, for example, when we have our retirement accounts and we have a financial advisor, how are they getting paid? What products
Mhm.
in? Are they doing things to help you or are they doing things because they're getting paid on it because they're benefiting from products that they're putting you in? So at the end of the day, you're your best advocate. Asking those questions, having you being transparent as well as having that trusted advisor being transparent is another way to build that trust, right? But of course, if you're utilizing an advisor because your parents did or your friend did or whatever, and they're not doing right by you, get a different advisor. You have to do what's right for you. You are so don't hesitate. I feel like that's one thing that so many people are uncertain of. They're afraid to ask questions, and it's like
Mhm.
going to a dietitian. It's like going to somebody to help you look out for you. You have to ask questions. If you don't like the answer, you know, turn the page, go to another person.
Yeah, no, absolutely. People are really afraid to ask questions, especially when it comes to health and when it comes to money, because when we feel overwhelmed, we shut down.
Mhm. Yeah, especially, I've seen people who are so embarrassed. They're being
Mhm.
off. They're scared. But asking questions and finding the answer that you want to hear, or finding what's going to put you in that position, um, financially, that better position financially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone at home is, watching this or thinking about this, like there's so much, just like with everything else in wellness, there's so much noise, right? You've got like top financial advisors on the internet or like top influencers in the finance space saying, you need to have X amount, you need to have 3 months in savings, 3 months of expenses in savings. No, you need to have 6 months. No, you need to have 12 months.
Right.
And if you want to leave your job or you want to retire, there's all these different numbers and calculations and noise and things out there. So I guess my first part of this question is, if someone at home is listening to this, what are a couple of like green lights or red lights they can have with themselves? Like, I'm
Yep.
paying my bills. Okay, yes, that's really important. I'm not going into debt. I'm paying off my credit cards or I'm not using credit cards. Like, what do you think are some of the most important things someone can kind of ask themselves to get an
Yeah.
idea of their financial wellness?
That's a great question because I think there's a lot of folks out there that think, well, I'm paying the minimum bound or the minimum um,
Oh,
on
yeah.
um if that is all you can do, it's the credit. But a couple of things that come to mind. First of all, if you find yourself in paying down your credit card debt, you're feeding your family, your mortgage or rent payment, and you're still feeling stressed, it's okay to get off track once in a while. Everything does not have to be perfect or run smoothly. Right now, we're in the most expensive time of people's lives. Right, we're buying, we're going to parties and dinners, and it tends to be a very pricey couple of months. The holidays. Don't put yourself further down the rabbit hole. It's off track. Readjust, realign, get back into paying those bills, and hopefully in January, being able to make more of the minimum payments. But if you find yourself being stressed out, ignoring bills, not looking at interest that you're being charged, not looking at how much money you owe, if you're relying too much on credit, those are all red flags. Those are things that need to be addressed. And you're obviously nervous, scared, rightfully so, uh,
Hmm.
situation. Find someone you can talk to, find someone that you trust, and start addressing these symptoms, because ignoring them is only going to make things much worse. And again, we'll get back to that, creating that budget. Did you go off your budget? Why are you ignoring your bills all of a sudden? Um, Procrastinating. I've had worked with folks who, like, look, admittedly so, procrastinating paying something because they're afraid, but that's not helping you. So addressing it and getting that assistance and that trusted advisor on your side to help you alleviate those symptoms, really. But finding guidance, a community partner, an advisor, your bank, your financial advisor. We're also in a digital banking area. So
Hmm.
if, nobody should be late on a payment, between auto pay, between alerts that you can set on your phone. And if you are late on a payment, you're paying a very large late fee. So you're
Right.
behind the eight ball without trying to put yourself behind the eight ball. So addressing and recognizing that you are experiencing angst, and reaching out to get help from someone. And
Mhm.
things here at Sunmark that we provide, we can do one-on-one counseling and sit with someone. Pulling a credit report. There are so many people that don't know their or
Yeah.
don't credit report. You can get your credit report free a couple of times a year. Um, Rub it, make sure it's accurate in today's world of fraud. The fraudsters have a field day. AI is coming into play, which is allowing them to get away with even more. But looking at credit report, understanding your credit score, those are a couple other trying to put yourself in a better position.
Do you have, like, a favorite, again, this is noise, like, I get, like, TransUnion and da 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 da, like,
Yep.
do you have a favorite resource for checking your credit score?
So I use Experian. I think it's
Okay.
anyone you are comfortable with. Again, you can get it for free. We can sit down with someone, pull it, rub it with them. Um, but whatever you're comfortable with. I know a lot of credit card companies, a lot of banks nowadays put your credit score somewhere on your online banking or your
Yeah.
statements. If you notice that that score is askew, you might want to pull a report and check it out because they took a credit card out on your name. Maybe something wasn't taken off that you thought was taken off. I had a scenario where two women. One was one woman got married, so her name was the same name as her sister-in-law, and they got confused. And there were now, luckily, both had good credit,
Yeah.
but it became apparent when somebody had to apply for something. If she hadn't, I think they were getting new appliances, but if she hadn't have, realized that, who knows how it could have ended. It may not have ended well, but
Wow.
that's it. So, you know, strange things happen. You never know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Let's talk about fraud since you mentioned it. We didn't really, like, prepare to talk about fraud, so no problem if you're,
Oh, oh,
I have a digital bank, like one of the huge ones. It's just easier. We until the past few years, we moved around all the time. So brick and mortar isn't something I had since I was like, my first bank account. But
oh,
I it's one of the big ones, right? So like for me as a consumer, I should have great protection, right? Like the app is really good. That's great. Okay. But I have this one credit card that I locked because it kept getting fraud. I have 2 credit cards with this bank plus my checking and savings account, right? But this one credit card is always getting picked up
yeah,
or something. It
yeah,
just happened yesterday. I've had it locked. It happened so many times. Luckily, the bank catches it really quickly.
yeah,
They tell me about it, but I'm like, it's so bizarre. And I also have like credit cards with like I manage my credit very wisely. I use it as a wealth building tool and not, it doesn't use me. But I'm just like, this is so crazy. Why does this one? And yesterday it was like 13 decline charges in a row for Facebook.
huh,
So
yeah.
obviously it was a scammer. My card shut it down right away, but I'm just like, why this one card? This is so bizarre. So what are your tips? Everybody's got a fraud story. Like, what are your tips for fraud?
Okay. Well, the first thing is I would probably get a new card from that bank. I would clip that
I
card.
don't even use the credit card. I've had it for a long time, so I didn't close it because it's like again, it's like nice for my credit score, length of credit, amount of credit, like so I just didn't close it, and because it's locked, I'm like, this is your problem, Capital One. Like this is not.
Yeah. What's in your
You
wallet?
know,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um,
Who's in your back end of your system?
I feel like the fraud are so advanced. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I partner sometimes with the Better Business Bureau
Yeah.
and onto a couple of their fraud presentations. When folks put on Facebook their child's kindergarten first day, and then subsequently, first grade, second grade, on and on, first birthdays, whatever, fraudsters are monitoring that. They they're in it for the long game.
Yeah.
10 years in, they'll remember little Johnny Scooter, who is now 18 years old, and they're going to try and open cards, whatever they can do and get away with it because of these Facebook posts or whatever posts. I would have never thought that was something to worry about. Um,
Mhm.
Also, things like using a credit card, one specific credit card for online purchases only. Don't use a debit card. Don't put your information out there. Don't use any cards willy nilly. Again, you said something about you use credit for your wealth management. Credit does not. If you're using credit because you are in a position where you don't have cash or the means, you know that you need to speak to somebody and get help, but you should not be credit for that. So I love that you
Yeah.
said something that we say. But yeah, the fraud AI now coming into play. We still have people coming into the branches. Somebody told me to get Walmart cards. Somebody told me to get, you know, we all know the one where the grandparents were called because the child was in jail and you, you know, send money to get them out. And there are so many different stories. Again, being your best advocate, don't be afraid to ask questions. I'm very cynical. If somebody calls me and I don't believe them, I say, "I'm gonna call you back." And I don't
Yeah.
call back the number they give me. I look up the number and call them back on the number that they're with. Banks will not ask that sensitive information. Obviously, account number, social security, mother's maiden names, all those questions that um, supposedly make our accounts secure and safe. But I feel like it's a crapshoot, and I hate to say that. I feel like, especially with AI coming into play, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg with what is going to happen and how things are going to change with regard to fraud. Now, financial centers, banks, credit unions are upping their game as trying to keep up as much as they can. Um, but it happens.
Yeah. It actually, you made me think of this because, like, that sensitive information, those like extra questions that they ask you, if you're active on social media, especially like Facebook, where you could like tag people and like you're celebrating birthdays,
Yep.
somebody can go in and get your kid's birthday, your husband's birthday, everybody's names, everybody's middle names, your mom's maiden name. Now I can guess your password. I can get your birthday. I can get your
Yep.
mom's maiden name, and I'm in.
You're right. You're right.
That is really so it's probably like I'm sure people are publishing information on this and doing research. Like probably the more you share on social media, the more at risk you are.
Yeah. Social media is a fraudster's best friend.
Yeah.
But it's a long game. So they're in it. They're there. They're plugging away, and they're making their folders and files, and they'll strike when the time is right. And unfortunately, our older generation, and I do work with a lot of 55 and older communities. Um, they're not. I hate to say tech savvy. I feel like they're a much more gullible generation. Um,
Mhm.
so obviously they're a target. But even I've talked to people who go into schools and do the fraud workshops, and even the kids are flabbergasted. Like what you just said about social media, that would have never occurred to them.
Right. Right.
Now we all have to be diligent and know understanding where we are. I have alerts on my account. If a large balance is taken out, I get alerted. I
Yeah.
take advantage of the digital age and make it to your advantage because the quicker you report fraud activity, the quicker the bank will be able to catch it, stop it, what have you.
Yeah. So it really comes back protecting yourself comes back to the awareness. Like so you can turn on the alerts. You can, if you're aware of your accounts and stuff, you go in and keep track of them. That's another danger of like, well, if I open this Target credit card, I'm going to get 30% off. And this is a lot of Christmas presents. I could use this money, which is great. But then you have to keep track of that.
Right.
right? So you
Exactly.
need some sort of hub to keep track of all these different, like, that's what I mean. Like, I sometimes will do that because I use a software system that
Yep.
I put everything into, right? So, like, I take that risk for the reward knowing I have a system that backs me up because
Right.
luckily I started it in my early 20s. But yeah, it's just another thing to think about, and then we get overwhelmed, and then we forget about it, and
Right.
then boom, our credit score is tanked, and we've got a big balance that's just accruing 24% interest every month.
Yep. Right. And it's a catch 22. You're very confident that you have this system that you input everything. The majority of people that we're working with, especially in the 55 and older communities, they do not want to do that. They are so scared. And it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
or do I mail a check? I don't want to go online and give that information. And again, your financial wellness is independent, your way of thinking. We can help you to a point, but I can't convince somebody to not mail checks out any longer. You know,
Right, right.
what their comfort level allows them to. But I think taking advantage, like advantage of, using one credit card for online purchases,
Yeah.
monitoring your spending and having alerts. I think anytime too, are combining your finances with someone to have that conversation that you're both on the same page, because that
Yeah.
way I've worked with, I was at a school district a month or so ago, and there were probably like 8 or 9 newlyweds in the workshop, like, within the year they got married, and none of them had that conversation of finances before they took the plunge.
Mm.
Getting a little bit of an eye opener because, one particular person was sharing how, somebody was really spending money more than they had realized. Somebody brought debt to the marriage that they hadn't realized. Um,
Mm.
Debt is huge, right? They didn't have that conversation. Okay, I knew you had student loan debt. I didn't know I had this much loan debt. Um,
Right.
so again, it's advocating for yourself and recognizing that you have to have these courageous conversations, understand who you're with, what their mindset is, and to try values aligned and take it from there.
Yeah, and hopefully that grow together, and if one of you is seeking out information on it, bring the other one with and try to be on the same page. Yeah, that's a tricky one. That's a cool topic too, is like, and I talk about this with a lot of friends and family members, like, when you get married, do you combine, and what does that look like?
Yep. Yep.
And do you
Yeah.
grow together? Because 'Cause isn't that one of, like, the financial issues is one of the biggest strains in marriage?
100%. And that's we got so many questions, so many examples of people not having that conversation that we
Yeah.
stopped managing your money together because it was needed, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, I think people take for granted that, oh, well, I save money, so they assume their partner of that mindset. And
Right, we assume.
yeah, you should not make that assumption. I mean, I grew up in a household, and oftentimes you're a product of the environment you grew up in, right? So my dad was a spendthrift, was a saved. He was a school teacher. I had 7 kids in my family. My mother didn't work. Such a saver. We all went to college. We went on vacation every year. They bought a condo in Florida when he retired. He was a great money manager. I did not inherit that. Some of my sisters did. I did not. But so it's interesting. I think people assume things of people, and oftentimes that's not the case. So
Right, and
another scary another scary topic is when you're co-signing.
oh, I don't know anything about this, tell me.
Well, I'll use student loans, for example. If you're a parent and you're signing, first of all, most financial advisors will tell you not to sign a loan. They would say take another route, don't put yourself in that position. But that's sometimes not the case. You'll have to get student. Anyhow, you co-sign your child's student loan, get a life insurance policy on that child because you're on the hook for that loan, God forbid, if something happens to him or her. Now, that's a very morbid conversation. have.
Yeah.
But anytime you're co-signing, first of all, you should have a pretty good indication that that person is going to pay that loan. Second of all, have a life insurance policy out on that person. $100 a year or whatever it is going to be far worth it if, God forbid, something happens and that person is no longer able to pay that loan.
Because otherwise it would default entirely to the cosigner.
Yeah, you're responsible as a cosigner.
Or like
You
if you co-sign for someone and then they just stop paying, it becomes your liability, correct?
Yep.
That's scary. Yeah, that is scary.
And I think putting your money to the other part, I've had people come to me saying, "Yeah, my best friend and I moved in an apartment together, and now she's not paying her share of the rent, or she's not paying."
Right.
Like, anytime you are going to mingle your funds, you need to have
Mhm.
funds. As difficult, or you may think it's not necessary at the time because everybody goes in with good intentions and it's going to be great. You never know. Circumstances change on a dime, and you have to watch out for yourself.
Yeah, and be proactive, and talking about it is gonna break down the stigma. So if you go into a marriage and you're like, "I forgot to tell them this," or "I'm realizing because I'm now responsible to another person, I'm realizing these habits," like, that's just gonna create shame.
Yeah,
And so I think you have to work up the courage to talk about it so that you can break it down and then not have to feel shame and just work to the other side of it.
right, exactly. Yeah, again, putting yourself in a position to be successful. And these are you wouldn't start a job without asking multiple questions about the position or the role you were going to take. So why
Right.
ask a roommate or a potential spouse or what have you the same kinds of
So
questions?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other general advice you'd want to give in this vein of like advocate for yourself and kind of like protect yourself financially?
Yeah. Well, again, and I'm going to go back to the budget word because I really feel like that's the foundation of yourself in a position to make better decisions.
Right.
And some of the things that people need to think of as they're creating their first budget is going to provide you stability and confidence, not a restriction, not going to
Right.
do anything. I feel like it's okay to recognize that you're not perfect, that you may fall off the wagon,
Mhm.
track or whatever, but just get yourself back on. There's multiple ways to pay off debt. Look at your debt. There's different ways that you can pay it off. You can pay off, write everything down and look at the highest interest credit card. That's the balance that you want to start chipping away at, making minimum payments on all your other cards, putting the bulk of the money on that higher interest card. It's a personal preference, and then going down to the next card and then the next. Another way is taking care of the lowest balance card and paying that off. I have a
Yeah.
game oriented frame of mind. So I find pleasure when I know, okay, that card's taken care of. Like this time of year in January, because I put charges on Target. Normally, I don't use a Target card. Normally, I use certain cards, but because I'm doing Christmas shopping, I'll use them. So in January, I'll make sure I'll pay off those smaller cards first and then work my way up to the higher interest. But
Mhm.
that's me because I feel like I'm being rewarded when I pay off a card. I get that, dopamine rush or whatever.
Right.
But other people might not be able to sleep at night because they know they're spending 28% interest on a card. So they that card. It's personalized what's going to work, what's work best, not a right
Exactly. Exactly. And if you do what works for you, you'll stick with it and it'll actually work.
then, and
Doesn't
that's
have to be perfect.
the home run. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I thought of 2 really fun pop quiz questions. Is that
Okay.
okay if I ask them you? They're about mortgages.
Oh boy. Okay.
Okay. What do you think about this 50-year mortgage proposal?
I I think it's a little ridiculous. That's my personal opinion. That is no professional opinion at all. Um, I don't know enough about it to really give an educated answer on it. I think if you need to get a 50-year mortgage, you might want to evaluate if buying. It's like leasing a car. People don't like
Mhm.
renting an apartment. If it works for you, it works for you. I am not a proponent of your mortgage because don't, but I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about it. What do you?
Mhm. Mhm. It's exploitative. It's ridiculous. It's criminal. You're exploiting a population that you didn't properly educate. The same system that didn't educate people or put money into education and continues not to put enough money into education, wants an ignorant population, is now going to exploit with a 50-year mortgage. It's disgusting.
Right. You're allowing people who can't afford to buy a home, and they're going to find themselves in trouble anyway.
They're going to be upside down and have absolutely no path to retirement
Mm,
because we don't live in a multi-generational home society. Other people do.
mm, yeah,
It's just, yeah,
yeah.
it's
No,
scary.
it is scary. I would like to. We have mortgage experts here at Sunmark. I would like to
Yeah.
and ask what their take is. I'm sure it would be very similar to ours. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, it's really scary. One more mortgage one. This one is actually could be kind of fun and less. It doesn't feel exploitative, but I'm not a professional and it's probably somebody's losing. But the concept of transferable mortgages.
Okay,
Have you seen that?
Susie's at me.
I
Um,
know. I just saw this. I haven't researched this one very much, but it's appealing to me because I bought in 2021 and I got a screaming deal on a mortgage.
I,
I'm never going to see a rate like that again. So my husband and I are talking all the time. Luckily, we love our home and we love our neighborhood and we love our community, but we're like stuck, right? Because we're never going to get anywhere close to this interest rate again. So, but what do you think just off the cuff?
I have to go with I don't know about it to answer.
Yeah.
I feel like right, you're not the only one who got a great deal with your mortgage rate, and folks that have 8, 6, 7, 8% mortgage, maybe looking at it through different glasses. But I don't know.
Probably the banks would lose. And if the banks are hosting this, then they won't lose. So there's got to be a lot more to it. It's just interesting. I think it's exciting. Like real estate and all of that really excites me. And at
Yeah,
these interest rates, it's not as wise of an investment opportunity because you're paying, so much in interest. You just let
right.
that sit in index funds and get, 6% return instead of 6% interest.
Well, I'm always on board for evolving and change and things that thinking outside the box and bringing these opportunities around.
Right.
I'm more interested in the motive of why these are being brought up and why are we thinking about these types of changes.
Right. Right.
I, I really want to know the why behind it and the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. Ask questions, advocate for
Yeah,
yourself, get to the root of it. Who's benefiting? Who's losing?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Good reminder to stay open minded
Yes,
and be
yes,
careful where you're getting your info from.
that's right. Right.
What's the word? Is it FDIC? Is that how you know you're at a financial institution that's like, what's it called? Like safe or whatever?
Yeah. So we're insuring a certain amount of money. Uh,
Hmm.
Credit unions do not use FDIC. We use different, very similar.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's insuring a certain amount of money that you have at the institution. And
Okay.
Sunmark is a state credit union. We're not a federal credit union. Um, yeah, so you can look at that, and that's another thing when you're depositing money. You could ask how much is in
Yeah.
the, what are the rules and the regulations that you follow. Yeah, yep.
Very good. Very good. Okay, awesome. Well, I have my closing question for you, but before that, do you have anything else you'd like to share? Any other things that you think are great takeaways for people?
I would again reiterate that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Actions, you're your best advocate. When you begin your journey to financial wealth, to fall off track, don't throw your hands up in the air and surrender. Get back on. Find yourself a trusted advisor that you can be honest with. being honest with yourself is the first step. Whether we talk
Yeah.
writing down goals, make sure they're attainable goals, and you have the means to be able, if you're planning to reach those goals. Uh, Keeping into consideration the environment that we're in, we interest rates just went down. Um, where is your money? Who is your advisor? How are they getting paid? There's a number of different things that you want to look at and consider, and we're here. We're here to help and walk you along your journey.
Yeah, thank you, and I'll make sure that your information is in the show notes so people know where to find you.
You.
Um, and then my favorite question for everybody, what do you wanna be doing when you're 80?
Mhm. I hope I am a snowbird. I hope I am somewhere warm in the winter months on a beach or at a pool. Hope I'm still able
Mm,
to play in golf. I find tremendous pleasure in thinking about my granddaughter growing up. I hope that there are other children in my future. But spending time with family and friends, and hopefully I'm healthy and living a joyful life. Retired.
yeah. Retired, yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Maybe you can come on again and tell us all about your retirement plan and how we can make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to come up with more information on mortgages. Bring my mortgage expert
No,
along.
I that wasn't I think I just get excited about things, so I didn't mean to pop quiz you, but, it's
Fine.
to me, because I'm not in the financial industry, I'm like, everything's all blended together, right? But it's like, no, these are, like, totally different things.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, thank you for entertaining that, and thank you so much for being here, I really appreciate it, and
You.
everyone, I will make sure you know where to find Mary and ask any questions that you have. So, thank you, everyone, and thank you, Mary.
You. Merry Christmas.
Yes, Merry Christmas, and I will talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.